On this channel, we provide useful programming information with practical code examples. This time, it's about meta information-related tags. This explains the meta tag, including its relation to SEO, responsive design, and security aspects such as content security policy. Enabling subtitles will make the code descriptions easier to understand. Please make use of it. First, let's take a look at an overview of the meta tag. The meta tag provides metadata for the HTML document. The metadata is not displayed on the page but is used by search engines and browsers. The meta tag is used for page descriptions, keywords, author information, and responsive design settings. Next, let's look at the metaname equals viewport tag. The metaname equals viewport tag controls the layout and scaling of web pages on different devices. It is commonly used in responsive design to ensure proper display on mobile devices. Next, let's look at the metaname equals description tag. The metaname equals description tag is used to briefly describe the content of a web page. Search engines use this description to display a summary of the page in search results. Next, let's look at the metaname equals keywords tag. The metaname equals keywords tag provides a list of keywords relevant to the page content. Search engines use these keywords to better understand the page content. Next, let's look at the metaname equals author tag. The metaname equals author tag specifies the author of the web page. This information is mainly used by search engines and tools to accurately identify the page's author. Next, let's look at the meta HTTP equiv equals refresh tag. The meta HTTP equiv equals refresh tag is used to automatically refresh the page or redirect to another URL after a specified time. It is useful for reloading the page or redirecting the user. Next, let's look at the meta HTTP equiv equals cache control tag. The meta HTTP equiv equals cache control tag is used to control the caching behavior of the web page. It can specify whether to cache the page or revalidate it upon subsequent access. Next, let's look at the meta HTTP equiv equals expires tag. The meta HTTP equiv equals expires tag sets an expiration date for the page content. Once the specified date has passed, the content becomes outdated, and the browser is prompted to retrieve a new version. Next, let's look at the meta HTTP equiv equals XUA compatible tag. The meta HTTP equiv equals XUA compatible tag is used to specify compatibility mode for Internet Explorer. This tag ensures that the browser uses the appropriate version of the rendering engine to display the page. Next, let's look at the meta HTTP equiv equals content security policy tag. The HTTP equiv equals content security policy attribute in an HTML meta Tag is a function to apply specific security rules in the browser to enhance web page security. By using this attribute, website developers can set policies regarding resource loading and script execution to prevent attacks such as XSS, cross-site scripting, and data injection. Content Security Policy, CSP, is a type of HTTP header used to control what external resources, images, scripts, style sheets, etc. a web page can load and what kinds of code can be executed. It is usually sent as an HTTP header but can also be defined within HTML using a meta tag. This method allows specifying CSP on the client side instead of setting headers on the server side. For example, you can set CSP in the HTML meta tag as follows. In this example, the following policies are set. Default src, self, basically, all resources are only loaded from the same origin, itself. imgsrc https://example.com. Images are only loaded from https://example.com. Script src, self, https://apis.google.com. Scripts can only be executed from the same origin or from https://apis.google.com. Typically, Content Security Policy is sent from the server to the client as an HTTP header. However, if you set it on the client side using the meta tag, it can be written directly in the HTML. However, there are some important differences between setting it as an HTTP header and specifying it with a meta tag. Priority. A CSP sent via HTTP headers takes precedence over one specified in a meta tag. This means that if a CSP is set on the server side, it will not be overridden by a meta tag used on the client side. Application timing. A CSP specified via HTTP headers is applied before the page is loaded. On the other hand, a CSP specified via a meta tag is applied when the HTML is parsed, so resources might already be loaded. In CSP, various directives are used to specify policies that allow or disallow loading and execution of certain types of resources. Typical directives include the following. Default src specifies the default source policy for all resources. It applies to resources not specified by other directives. Script src specifies the source for JavaScript. To prevent XSS attacks, you can restrict the loading of scripts from external sites. Style src specifies the source for CSS. By restricting the loading of style sheets from external sources, you can prevent attacks on your site's styles. imgsrc specifies the source for images. You can restrict the loading of images from external sources. Connect src specifies the URLs allowed for XML HTTP requests and WebSocket connections. This ensures the security of external API and WebSocket communications. By combining these directives, you can build detailed policies for resources on your web page. Below is an example of CSP settings to enhance your website's security. This can reduce the risk of XSS attacks and data leaks. The following policies are applied with this configuration. Default src, self, all resources are loaded only from the same origin. Script src, self, https://trusted-cdn.com. Scripts are loaded only from the same origin or a trusted CDN. Object src, none. The object tag is not used. This is to prevent Flash or plugin-based attacks. Style src, self, style sheets are only loaded from the origin itself. Base URI, self, the URL base set by the base tag is limited to the origin itself. Form action, self, the form submission destination is limited to the origin itself. This reduces the risk of form data being sent to external sites. By using HTTP equiv content security policy to define CSP within HTML, it is possible to enhance the security of the web page. A properly configured CSP is a powerful tool that reduces the risk of XSS attacks and data leaks and protects your website. The source code for this video can be downloaded from the official website. If you like, please visit the URL in the description to aid your learning. Next time, we will explain recent trends in HTML. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.